this particular network? Well, they are the producers. We know that agriculture has been a backbone, it's been an essential part of our growth, and so day in and day out, we are trying to see how we can use technology and innovation to be able to enhance agriculture and food productivity in our country. So as we are in the rainy season, it is expected that a lot of our farmers will be at work by now. But don't forget, a lot of issues have affected the fertility of our soil. Even climate change cannot be ruled out. So it's imperative that you deal or you find very quality fertilizer products that can enhance the growth and of course production of your plants. That is why Acarp is here. Now if we say it's compost fertilizer, what does it mean? How different is it from the other fertilizers, for the chemical fertilizers we have? How is it produced? And of course, how can you access it? And of what benefit will it be to you as a farmer if you're able to get it? It's just going to be some 10-15 minutes discussion, then we'll activate the phone lines and get talking with you. Nana, welcome.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Welcome to Bolga.
Thank you very much.
Have you been here before, or this is just the first time?
We have, with our past business expectations, we have targeted the Upper East, to be precise, to kind of encourage vegetable farmers to use the Acarp Compost fertilizer to boost the soil structure. And so we have been here a couple of times to do our feasibility studies, and also to get acclimatized with the people and see how best we can meet their needs.
I see.
So I have been in Upper East, Bolga, Boko, and a couple of towns,
So who have you been meeting? Is it farmers or retailers?
Well, couple of farmers, when I get to meet them at the ministries or the MOFA district offices, we get interactive, and mostly with the distributors who have direct access to the farmers.
I see.
Yes.
And so generally, what's this Acarp Compost fertilizer? We know, I mean, I know several. I have not been into farming so well though, but at least I know there's been so much fertilizer in the system. But this one is Acarp Compost.
Yes.
What's the compost component in this fertilizer you have?
Well, our Acarp Compost and Recycling Plant is, as you said, a subsidiary of the Jospon group of companies. So it's actually a direct chain from Zoom Lion. And so what happens is we actually receive waste from our domestic households, just like Zoom Lion will pick from every houses. And then we also receive waste from agriculture.
That's the boiler you take from our houses.
Quote unquote boiler, as Ghanaians will term it.
Yeah.
So basically it's a boiler that we receive and other agricultural rejected waste, like the residues of your millet farm, your corn farm, your pineapple farms, all those agricultural rejected waste, we add them and then we process into compost. And apparently we have also been adding a little or percentage of chicken droppings to neutralize the nitrogen level. So it is not just the boiler, quote unquote, but other things comes to play to make it richer, to meet the standards that probably the international accreditation also deserves. So it is actually something that we have researched into and make sure that there's not a single chemical inside.
So there's no chemical in it?
Not at all. We go through a lot of processes. It goes through the conveyor belt and we do a lot of sorting from our plant.
So you take off like plastics, or they are all included?
No sir, we take away the plastics. Sorry, we take away the metals, the cans, the pins, the needles. We have a magnetic separator, so that the small pins that human beings cannot pick when it's on the conveyor belt. The magnetic separator will take away every metallic substance from the entire waste. And then we have a place that we pick away the plastics, which you also recycle or process halfway into PET bottles, HD and HM, and then we also sell that into bucket and other people who also deals in plastic production. So Ghanaians have to know that the boiler that we make is also money in its own regard. And so we are only praying that there will be a time where Ghanaians will come to understand that we have to actually sort out the waste from our households, so that it also limits the stress when they get to our outlet.
So it doesn't mean that it's a win-win situation, in as much as we are producing a lot of waste which has environmental hazards and even health hazards. We can still use the same waste to produce compost fertilizer to enhance our farming.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly. In fact, waste can be used for so many purposes.
When we're in JSS, we learned compost, but we were taught how to dig the ground,
And bury
them for some days, and then you go and collect it and spread. Even cow dung.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is like an advanced.
Oh yes, of course.
Form of
course.
compost fertilizer.
Yes, please. Acarp compost, as much as we receive the waste, we process it, we water it, we turn it, we make sure it have to go through maturity stage. It goes through a lot of testing before it comes out as compost. So probably if one will want to try some home, you might see it as compost, but it might not meet the requirements that the standards needs. So we have a high level equipped science lab. We have actually taken our samples to what do you call it, Cocoa Research Institute, which have tested and given us the accreditation. We have also gone to Mampong CSIR, Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicine, and they have also tested our product and they have given us the green light. That's why MOFA also have said, yes, you guys are doing great. Why don't we help our farmers to also improve their soil structure? And to be precise, the survey that I have made, the people in the eastern Volta and other places of the country are a bit okay in terms of soil structure, but my people up here, my heart is so much into here, and we are only praying that as much as the soil has become more porous, we all go into Acarp compost, which kinds of holds your soil's structure. In that regard, the Acarp compost is going to give us all the best of healthy food that we all expect. So
is it can it be applied to all plants, or there are some particular plants that is applicable to?
Acarp compost fertilizer is applicable to all vegetables,
so
all plants, anything green,
tomatoes, vegetables, or
anything including the grass.
I see.
We have the lawn market in Accra. We have the lawn market. The people comes to buy. They use the compost to apply on their lawns in their houses.
Okay.
Some private institutions comes to buy the compost to process their own fields, like Accra Polo Club. They have a very big field that they play their polo, so they use the compost to get the kind of green they want. Okay. The kind of green that the compost gives, even grass are
just like what we have in the stadium.
Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes if you apply compost, the grass or the crop becomes so green that if you're not careful, you think it's carpet. You think it's artificial, but the compost is actually the best food that the crops need. With the compost, it doesn't really kind of grow so fast like the what do you call inorganic fertilizers will do. The compost will take its time for the product or the crop to mature. But when it matures too, you know that you are eating the real taste of corn that you are looking for. You are eating the real taste of cabbage that you are looking for. Many times we buy tomatoes and before you cut inside the tomatoes, it looks red outside but it's yellow inside.
Whitish.
You understand?
In some cases pale.
Exactly. Exactly. But if you want to see the real tomatoes that we used to eat in the 90s, then you have to go for Acarp compost.
How is the package done? I mean, what kilograms do you package in? We have 25 kilograms, 15, 10. What's the size?
Well, Acarp compost, we only do 50 kg.
50 kg?
Yes, for the mass market. But when you come to some supermarket in Accra, we go for the 5 kg.
Okay.
That is very handy for people that are driving to just pick it and use it for their own small flower pots in their small houses.
I see. Wow. That's quite interesting to know. And so Acarp, Accra Compost and Recycling Plant.
Yes, sir.
I see. So in this part of the country, particularly in the Upper East region, do you have some already in the market, and where can people access them?
Well, in the Upper East region, we have a couple of distributors. In Bolga here, we have Petasco Enterprise, who is our major distributor here. And then when we go to Navrongo, we have Augustine. I'm sure the people who are into the the fertilizer market knows these guys. They are the big boys in the industry. Augustine is a sole rep in Navrongo, and then in Bolga here we have Peter Adongo, or they call Petasco. And then as much as Fumbisi, we have Ajia Nima or Ajia Comfort from Fumbisi, who also deals with us. If we go as far as Boko, we have Ajia Bonaba at Boko.
The name sounds familiar.
Yes, Ajia Bonaba is also one strong dealer.
Okay.
And then we have Vialaco Enterprise also at Boko. And then we have Jacob at Binduri as well.
I see.
Yes, please.
Wow. So Acarp Compost fertilizer, does it have any side effects?
It is one of the most beautiful products you can think of, because they said too much of everything is bad. But I have never heard, or the entire office have never heard, too much of compost being bad to the crop. Because it's more or less the more you apply, the better you get the results. So for now, you can apply Acarp Compost instantly. Just wash your hands and eat. It has got no side effect.
I'm imagining how you are able to take out the smell and the germs in the rubbish and the boiler people produce from their various homes to produce something that one can just dip his hand in, spread on food, particularly tomatoes. I mean, because if we say it is produced from boiler, how am I applying it to my tomatoes and to be able to eat it and be comfortable?
That's interesting. Before it becomes compost, it doesn't look like boiler anymore. And it also has some living microorganisms. If you're saying all the quote unquote the maggots are dead, there are still some living microorganisms in all the compost that are in the sacks, though we can't see with our eyes. And these are the organisms that makes the soil porous for aeration. When we say aeration, the soil must be a bit loosened for air to pass through, for the plant to get all the necessary comfort it needs. This aeration aids drainage for the water to also drain properly down the root. And also, these are the same organisms that fight. That is amazing. Some farmers have come out with findings that, look, seniors, Nana, we used our product, and we have farmers in Savulubu who are all chasing us for the compost fertilizer, not even for the fact of maintaining the soil structure, but they said they are using our compost fertilizer because it was fighting bocha.
Which one is
And
that?
I was like, what is bocha? Apparently, some worms that were affecting their millet and corn for so long. And so I asked my science guys and said, yeah, you have this microorganism that fight materials. So, and the same, endorsement came from Eastern region. So many, we have this Mango Growers Association who also came like, yes, we use your compost, and there were pests affecting all the mangoes in this area, but the compost that we applied did not allow any pests to come onto our mangoes. Even when bats, mangoes are being eaten by bats a lot. But they said even when bats comes to bite the mangoes, it doesn't attract sweet flies. And this is more or less a package, like a buffet. You are buying compost to probably act as fertilizer, giving us the good health, and also fighting bacteria and pests on our crops.
For how long has it been in the system?
Acarp Compost have been in the system since 2012.
Okay.
Since 2012, but we have been on a government subsidy for the past 3 years.
And then that's actually my next question. It's under the government subsidy?
Yes, please.
And what does that mean? So farmers can enjoy it at a reduced price?
Farmers can enjoy it as a far discounted rate. The government wants it to be very accessible to all farmers, so that the farmers will get to know that yes, we, the government or the government of Ghana, wants to assist farmers and also give the citizens the best of food. There was a point in time where every vegetable from Ghana, somewhere early last year, was rejected by EU. And EU said too much chemicals in our food. And we have done exhibitions in Tamale and other places that some farmers came to my stand and started crying that we didn't know you have compost here. We were doing exports, and the whites decided that you don't want our product again. It's too much chemicals. So if you want to neutralize your chemical rates, you can still use your NPKs or whatever you want to use and add the compost to it. If you don't have the focus of doing pure organic farming, the compost is not a competitor to the other fertilizers. No, the compost play its own role, and if you want to still merge the two, it is possible. If you merge the two, you get neutralized reaction, where instead of, let's say, your vegetables should rot in 2 days, the compost will allow it to stay for maybe 5 days. But if it's pure compost, you know that your vegetable will be there until it rot in its own natural course.
I see. I think even today, presently, some farmers still produce compost in their various farms. I know that some still use cow dung. If you go down to the villages, farmers still use cow dung. They will store it for some time, then they will spread it on their farmlands before they plow and then plant. So obviously, it's just some kind of an advanced version. So which ones are you bringing to the region? Are you bringing the 5 kg, the 25 kg, or the 50 kg?
Please, our own is 50 kg standard.
50 standard. That's for the market value.
Yes, 50 kg. The ones that are in 5 kgs in Accra, the shopping malls and the supermarkets, are meant for the ornamental market.
Okay.
If you have a small garden in your house that you want to just apply, you just come for, and of course because of the weight, it's quite heavy. So
yeah, I'm imagining 50 kg.
Yes, it's
that's
quite
like
heavy.
That's like almost the weight of a bag of cement.
Exactly the same weight. 50 kg is standard everywhere. Yes, and it's really, because of the subsidy, it's also very cheap.
Okay.
Very affordable for every farmer to try it. And I'm sure when the farmers, they say the early bird catches the early worm. So the farmers that have gotten to know of compost are running over or buying it and making good use of it. And the amazing part is if you apply compost on your crop and you apply it very well, it stays in the soil for over a year.
What do you mean by very well?
You understand? The application rate sometimes gets failed by the farmers. There were some place around Tumu that some farmers bought it last year, and they called that they didn't really see the real effect of the compost, and that the grass down there has looked more beautiful than the corn that they were growing. And apparently the farm on the slope, the corn farm was on a slope.
Okay.
And they just did ring method application. They just applied it around the base of the crop, and then when the rain fell, it washed everything away down to the grass there. So truly, when I went there and I saw the grass looked like black. It was so green that it was turning black. And I said, how did you apply? I said, this is how we did it. We did it like this. I said, no. There was a gap somewhere. So we also entreat the distributors to also advise the farmers on the user rate. Because if they don't use it properly, basically if you are doing the ring method application, you have to make sure that you have dig around the crop, not so deep, a bit shallow, and then you pour the compost around, such that when rain falls, it wouldn't wash everything away. That is the whole concept.
But once you just drop it on the surface of the plant, it can easily be washed away.
Even air can blow it away. Even air can blow it. If you are lucky that no rain, no air for 1 week, then gradually it will sink. But how sure are we? We can't predict the weather.
How long does it take to decompose?
Or
to get neutralized in the soil?
Oh, well, apparently 2 to 3 weeks. Then you can begin to see the effect.
Okay.
It is not something you apply today and you are seeing the crop growing the next day. It's actually taking
I know with the other chemical fertilizer, I mean some of them, once you apply and rain falls, it melts like salt.
Right.
So exactly what I'm asking, whether it also melts like salt.
Ours doesn't melt. It stays at the base of the crop for as long as possible.
Okay.
It doesn't go nowhere. It holds the soil structure together. So instead of the soil to be so loose for leaching, as in when all the nutrients will drain down the ground, this one doesn't play that role. It holds the basic soil together. And the beauty part of it, for the dry season farmers, this is advantage to you. This compost holds soil moisture. So the dews that falls at night, this compost can store the dew for you and then give it back to the crop in the evening. So though in the afternoon the crop will bow its head like it wants to sleep, but in the evenings it will wake up again because the compost will store water or some moisture and then give it back to the crop when the sun sets.
Interesting. Nana is a marketing manager with Acarp Compost recycling plant. So you've been hearing of Acarp Compost Fertilizer. And so here in Bolga, Petasco Enterprise, they are the main distributors.
Yes.
Then we have Augustine in Navrongo. All right. And then you also have a distributor in around the Boko area.
Yes, we have Ajah Bonaba in Boko. We have Vialaco Enterprise in Boko. We have Jacob also in Boko. And these are names that when you get there, they are dons in the fertilizer industry.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much, Nana, for passing through. We'll see you again.
Most definitely.
Yes, I'm going to go into farming and I'll try Acarp Compost.
And I'm telling you, you are not going to regret. And the last comment I want to make, let's all as Ghanaians learn to live a healthy living. One distributor in Tamale, his name is Zaps. He said, Nana, my grandfather died at 120. My father died at 90. How many years am I going to spend?
That means he will die below 90.
You understand? It is dwindling back because of our food or our eating culture.
Yeah.
The kidney issues we are having, the lungs problem we are having are all from this too much chemicals that we are consuming.
So it reduces our lifespan.
Exactly. So if we also want to think about the life and not too much of the cost factor, let us try and go organic. Let us all try and go natural. And that's what Acarp says. Acarp Compost is truly natural. Very, very pure.
Sure.